Hi folks, this is Rose from In Rose's Garden, and today we're going to make some stretch bracelets. We've got a whole bunch of stretchy cord here. Now my stretch cord is the 1mm. I prefer the 1mm because I think it's a little stronger. It's definitely a little heavier. So and the style of stretch bracelet I'm going to make is one I call an Aroma bracelet, because I'm going to use some gemstones in it, but mainly I'm going to use lava stones. And lava stones will accept a scent on them. You just have to put it on with a Q-tip or a cotton ball, and it will soak into those little holes that they have in them, and they make a really fun bracelet that way. So let's turn down and we'll get started. And I think we'll probably make 2 or 3 of these at least, depending on how long it takes us to make them. Now the first thing you want to do is cut a length of your cord. I usually cut at least a foot. Of course your piece isn't going to be that long, but the thing is, you need that extra cord to tie your knot with. So let's put this back here. Like I said, this is 1mm. And the first thing you want to do is just take hold of both ends and stretch it. Say 3, 4. I usually stretch about 6 times because I'm a little bit of an overachiever. 4 is generally enough. So then, because I'm doing 4, I'm going to put a bead stopper here on the end, because I'm going to just bead along and get to where I feel like it's going to work, and then we'll check its sizing. I want it to be at least 7, anywhere between 7 and 7.5. This is my large hole bead. It's just a simple silver bead with a large hole in it. You need a large hole because this is where your knot needs to go, and the knot I make is a pretty good size knot. We'll also need some hypo cement to put on the knot, the GS hypo cement. Now you don't really need this because this knot that we're going to make is very secure, but it's better to be safe than sorry. Now what I use, like I said, is some lava stones. I've got some 10mm, some 8mm, some 4. I couldn't find my 6mm ones for some reason, and then I have some Hishi style ones. So what we're going to, and then beyond that, I also have some spacers and some gemstones. I like to use gemstones in these rather than glass because I think it's pretty cool. Now this is a sodalite, and these two are dyed Malaysian jade. So we're going to have one of those on either side. And I think we're going to go with the 10s, and then the 8 on either side. Now we are going to put a spacer between each one of these. And then, I'm going to put a Hishi here, so it has that different look. Whoa, that's a bead spot. Got the end broke off. I thought it was a Hishi, but it's not. It's a regular bead with half of it broke off. Here's the Hishi, though. Then we'll go to an 8 after the Hishi. And this is where I start playing with the bead sizes. We'll get a couple of little ones here, and then back to an 8. And this is where I wish I had my 6s, because I'd put a 6 right here now. Instead, I think maybe we'll put a Hishi. And then another 8. And 2 more of the little guys. Now, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to start stringing, because I have no idea how long this is going to be until I've strung some of it up. But I'm going to put a spacer. You know, I'm not going to put a spacer between the two 4s because they're small, and the spacer might be actually bigger than I want it to be. So we'll put the spacer between the other beads though. Dropsies. Now, one thing about stringing lava stones, you're never sure if the hole you're seeing is actually the one that goes all the way through the bead, or if it's just one of the regular holes in the beads. Now here we are at our first of our stones. I was debating if I wanted to put like 2 of the spacers here by the sodalites or just the 1. Let's see what 2 looks like. Oop. I think we are going to go with the 2 with the sodalite here. We'll leave it at 1 by the Malaysia Jade, but because the sodalite's a little darker, I think the 2 will set it off a little bit better. Now, when you come to the end, if it's too long, then of course you can start taking beads off. If it's too short, you'll have to add a few. Now, because the hole is on the large hole bead is so large, I think it's going to go right over the top of these 4s. Oh, nope, close, but it's not going over. That's good, because I was afraid it would. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to swing these around a little bit, and I'm going to take and put both threads through this, through the piece here, and then I'm going to tie a regular overhand knot here, and that's simply so I can keep it relatively tight as I put it on the bracelet sizer to make sure that we got enough and not too much. So there it is right there. So we get our bracelet sizer out. Here it is. Drop it down on it, and it's not long enough. See? We need at least a couple more beads because we want it to be around 7. Now, there is people with this small of wrist and might like it, but I like to have these be around 7 inches. So what I'm going to do, because I do want 7 inches, I'm going to unhook this, and we're going to take this one back off. I need to get a few more spacers because we just ran out here. We'll need some for the other ones, so we might as well put more down here. Now we'll put one more of these on and one of the 8s. And we'll do that on both sides. Now we'll put our large hole back on, and we're gonna again tie our elastic thread through the, now I think we're probably pretty close because each of those beads is between 1/4 and 1/2 inch in size, so we should be about where we want it to be. Come on, you, go over there because I want to be able to hold you. Okay. So there we go. Drop it down on here. And it's actually even a little larger. Well, it might not be when it's finished. So we're about right where we want it to be. So now that we do have it that size, we again want to take out our 2 threads because we only want 1 on that side, obviously. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take hold of this and we're going to stretch it a few more times. We don't want it to, if you don't stretch your stretch bracelets, they will end up bagging on you sooner or later because the weight of the beads will make them bag. So now that we've got that done, got our stretches, what we need to do is make our knot. Now this is almost, I almost cut too little here because what I need to do is take my fingers, go around it with both threads, and then go through here again with both threads. That one didn't go through. Ouch, that's starting to hurt my finger. But unfortunately I need that room there. So let's stretch it a bit more, see if we can get a little more room here. Now we want to go through there with both threads. There's 1. Now you want to go through again with both threads. Okay, now we have 2. Now I can pull this out. You want to keep this as tight as you can. Slide it off your fingers and pull tight. Now see how big that knot is? So there we go. There's our bracelet. Now what we're going to do is we're going to cut this down. And yes, this cuts with scissors. I cut the original piece with my flush cutters, but it will cut with scissors. And I'm going to leave about so much, because you don't want the cord to unravel. Oh, that's more than I usually leave. I usually just leave enough to, more like that. And it'll go inside our large whole bead here. So, like I said, if you wanted to, you could be done right now. We're not going to be. We're going to put some hypo cement on it so that its knot will stay in there, because the knot will then, I'm going to pull the top off. Now I've got a big glob up there, so I obviously had some extra when it closed the last time. And we're just going to let it drip down onto the knot. Don't need a lot. And you definitely, no matter what you do, do not use super glue on one of these, on the elastic, because the elastic will break with the super glue. Okay. Get the pin back in. I have to see if I can clean that off some. Now just push the knot inside your large hole bead and let it close and dry. So there we go. There's our first of our bracelets done. Is that cool? So let's put this one aside, get some more beads out because we're getting low here. And then we will also put our hypo cement aside too. We will get started on our second one. So we'll get some beads. Oops, I dropped one of the hishis on the ground. That's not cool. And I need some tins. Where'd I put my tins at? Strange. I had them with everything else right here. We're going to work on this one as soon as I find the tins. Ah, here they are. I don't put a lot of tins in, but I do like that difference in sizing. Let's see how cool that looks right there with the difference in sizing there. So we'll get a few more tins out. That's probably all I'm going to use for this particular bracelet, so. But we will sit these over here with the other beads so we know where they're at this time, so I don't have to search for them. And we're going to use, for this one, we're going to use these two crackle agates and this, I was going to say it's a carnelian, but it's not. I think it's a red agate. As our main focal pieces with that one in the middle. So of course the first thing we're going to do is get out a line of stretch cord. Now this one is elasticity. I also use Stretch Magic, but the Stretch Magic I have is not it's not a 1. And I prefer the 1 millimeter, so that's what I got out. Let's throw this bit away. And of course, like I said, first thing, stretch your cord. I usually give mine, 6 or 7 pulls. They say you only need to do 3 or 4, but I like I said, I do a little overkill sometimes, so. And one more for good measure. Now I'm going to put the bead stopper here on the end. And yes, that does damage the elasticity a little bit because this clamps over it. See how it made a couple of little divots there? But since this portion is most likely going to be cut off, I'm not too worried about it. So again, here's our large hole bead. We have these here. And we have to decide what we want in here. I'm thinking I want a hishi. And maybe on either side a hishi. Yeah, I like it. And then I think I'll put a 10. An 8. A couple of 4s. And another 8. See, do we still have plenty of hishis here? I'll have to get more out, but I think we'll put another hishi on either side, and then another 8. And I think we probably are still going to need some, because this is about, well, here's our beaded section here. You can see it's about half, and I don't think we're there yet. So probably a couple more 4s and another 8 on either side. So let's push these other beads that I haven't designed in yet out of the way. Probably going to need some more spacers again. I'm not sure. We'll see when we get to that point. So we'll start with our 8. And then we'll do this the same as the other one with the 2 4s without a spacer in between, because if I were to put a spacer in between, I'd probably want a much smaller one than those are. So excuse my sniffles. For some reason, I apparently have an allergy acting up. I'm not sure what one, but I know this is going to use more spacers, but I'm going to, between the hishis, on either side of the hishis, I'm going to put a double spacer. And this is simply a design choice. Okay. Now, as you can see, that's definitely longer than 8 inches. But as far as the straight line is concerned, but we don't know what it's doing in the long run here. So we will do our trick of putting it through the giant bead there, and pulling it tight, and doing an overhead. Hold on to the lines, and this is definitely too big. It's all right. Way too big. It's anklet size. My goodness, we need to lose a couple of inches. So we will take it off. Come on, guy. All the way up to here, and see what it looks like then. It might still be a little bit long. We'll see. Actually, a little bit, but not atrociously. If a man were to wear it, it would probably be closer. It's a 7 1/4 right now with that off. So I think we're probably good to go. So we do undo this, and then we're going to hold our line together. Now see, I've got more than I need this time, but I'd rather have more than I need than not enough. Then be way tight like it was last time. So some stretching. And then we're going to do 2 fingers, take both lines, wrap around both fingers, go underneath right here where your fingers are meeting with both lines, and then do that again. Okay, come on baby, give me that second one there. Second one. There we are. Now pull that up tight. Take one finger out, pull tight again. Pull your second finger out as you continue to pull tight. And there we go. There's our knot. Give it a couple of stretches. Usually, instead of loosening that, like a lot of knots would, that sets this knot. So, there we go. Now we'll get in here and we'll cut this lines down to about right here. Leave about 1/8 of an inch. Now see, I had a lot of extra line that time, more than I needed this time, but I'd rather have more than not enough. Now see, I think these are about the same size now. Yep. So now we will pull this apart, open our hypo cement back up. I really do need to get that nastiness off of there, if I can. I don't like that. There we go. Now, tip it over. Now I've got some of that stuck on my finger. And it's already coming out, so that's good. We'll just put it on there. Now we'll tip it back the right way, get our little needle piece into our tube. Come on, baby, go in. There we go. And now we'll push that knot into our large hole bead. And there we go. There's our second one finished. So let's see what their finished sizes were. See, that one is just about between 7 and 7 1/4. And this one, which we just finished, it's still wet, so we have to be careful with it, is it about 7 1/4 heading towards 7 1/2. So there's our 2 bracelets we've got finished so far. So that's 2. Let's make a third, shall we? Now this third one is going to be a little bit different, and that's because I'm going to use 4 beads, decorative beads. This is picture jasper, or is it ocean jasper? I think it's picture jasper. And because I'm using 4 beads, I'm going to get a few more of the 10s out. I think I can cut this cord, it's getting long. And we'll get a few more of the Hichis and the 8s as well. I think we have plenty of 4s here. And of course we'll need some more spacers as well. So, as usual, we have the big spacer bead, large hole bead here for our back end. And then we're going to do these up front. And we're going to put the 10. And then I think a hishi between the other two, like so. And the question will be when I do the spacers, do I want to double space around the hishis again, or just leave a single space around the hishis? Or double space here? We'll see. But for now, we're going to keep going on. And I think we'll go to 10s again on this side here. And then an 8. 2 of the 4s. 8. Now obviously this isn't anywhere near long enough because, as you can see, there's a lot more beads in this one. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 on each side. And on this one we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 on either side. So we need at least probably 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's go with 2 more of the littles. And then an 8. So let's start stringing this up and we'll see if we need any more beads. So we want to get another goodly length of our cord out. And I never measure this, as I'm sure you can tell. I just make sure I get quite a bit. So then, of course, we want to do our stretches. Mini stretches, and then we will put our bead stopper on and start putting these beads on. So put our bead stopper, then we're gonna go right down this line just like we have it, other than of course putting our spacers in. Last bead. Not sure if we're too long or not. We're gonna find out in just a second here. So through the big double hole bead, bing, come over here, go through the big bead, overhand, pull it tight, hold, and get our bracelet measure out and see where we're at. Well, it's not atrociously long. It's 7 1/4, a little between 7 1/4 and 7 1/2. You know, I think we'll leave it, because this is definitely one that's more colors that I would think a man would wear. I mean, a woman will wear browns and stuff too, but if a man is wearing it and wants those neutral colors, then this is definitely a good one. And a man's wrist is generally a little bit larger than a woman's, so There is get some stretches in there. Now we'll wrap it around our 2 fingers, push the 2 lines through once and then twice, pull it up tight, take the first finger out, pull it up tight again, rolling it off this finger while you're still putting pressure on it, and I got that one too loose. See how it went way up there? So that one is, I let the pressure off too soon. See, I've got a good 1/2 inch in here. But since I do have that much extra, we can see if we can get it to knot below this knot. So let's do it again. 1, 2, all the way through, both of you. Now we're going to try, because this knot is going to get in the way, so we got to try and get over the top of it as we go down here. And I'm not sure we'll be able to. Look, that's ugly. Let's see what we can do here. Now what we got to do is figure out which one is our top knot and see if we can get it to go underneath the original knot. Because if we can, then we can tighten the bottom, the second knot up and get it to go down further. Okay. I'm not sure if I'm succeeding here or not. I might be. Now I have a really big knot. On the other hand, it will still go in there if we get it good and snugged up. There's not extra space. See, this bead is plenty big enough to take this knot if we have it tight enough. Are we having loose spots? Nope. That's great. So come back out. We're gonna tighten this up some more, make sure it's good and tight. Cut off our extra string. So you wanna, when you pull it in, obviously, like I was just showing, you need to have that tightness. So I'm going to put plenty of glue down here to cover up, to hold both the knots together here, since we didn't get this low enough that we could take off the original knot. If I'd had just a little more line, I probably would have tried to take the original knot and cut it off, and just start over with the knot we have now. But on the other hand, I did not want to have too short of line and have to restring it. So now let's push that big huge knot inside of our bead here, and there we go. And as you can see, when you hold it, there's not extra line now because we did put the extra knot in there. There will be if you pull on it, of course, but it's all right. So let's test its finished size. I think it's going to be 7.5. Yep, it is 7.5. So that is bracelet number 3. That is a really big knot. It's a good thing I have a really big, large hole bead here. Okay. So there is our 3 bracelets that we made today. One with Malaysian jade and sodalite, one with picture jasper, one with red agate and some crackle agate. So there's our 3 bracelets. Now these 2 are probably dry now. This one won't be because we had to put quite a bit on it because the knot was so big. But those little threads want to stick out here, so I'm going to cut those off just a little bit more. They're a little sticky. Okay. So there we go, our 3 stretch bracelets. This is the one we just finished, which now has a really huge knot since we had to double knot it. So this is the one with the picture jasper. This was our first one with the sodalite and the Malaysia jade. Now, as you can see, it's just a touch loose on me, and I think this one was 7.25. So I'd be all right with this. I don't like it to be, I like a snug bracelet, but I don't care if it slides a little bit. This was number 2. Again, slides a little bit, not real snug on me, but still a really nice. You can see how the bead pattern will sit on a person's arm, like so. And again with the sodalite, of course, the jade on either side with the sodalite in the middle. So there's those 2. And I'm not going to put on the jasper one because it's still pretty wet. Well, you know what? I am. This one is the biggest one, so it's pretty loose on me. And there is the pattern. Like I say, the bead is the knots in this bead right here. So it has to finish drying. So there we go. Our 3 stretch bracelets, which I call Aroma bracelets because you can put a scent on the lava stones with a cotton swab. And it will soak into them. So there we go. 3 bracelets, 3 stretch bracelets. The gemstones, like I said, all came out of, were extras from my Bargain Bead Boxes. There's a stack. And I think they turned out very pretty. I hope you enjoyed making these with me. This has been Rose from In Rose's Garden, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.